words of my mouth, meditation of our hearts, be always acceptable in your sight, O Lord, our strength and Redeemer. Amen. Please be seated. They begged him to leave their neighborhood. Phrasing is interesting. It's like the anti-Mr. Rogers. Our VBS at Christ Church is going to be Mr. Rogers adjacent. And so I've been learning, like, won't you be my neighbor? And I was singing yesterday, and Stephanie was complaining. But this is, please won't you not be my neighbor. It's the opposite of that. And it's this story always is interesting because there's so many facets to it. There's sort of two different versions. There's one with two demoniacs, one with one. They live in a tomb or some kind of cemetery type area out on the edges. People don't want to go there, but they're so what did it say here? They're so fierce that no one could pass that way. And in Luke's version, he's breaking chains and he can't be restrained and all these things. Then why are there all these pigs here? They're Jewish. They don't eat pigs. What are they doing? Why is there a herd of swine nearby? The demoniac recognizes Jesus. It's one of the first times that's like Son of God. What do you have to do with us? It's not time yet. Okay, so they know that the time's coming. There's all of that. And then afterwards, after Jesus has healed the demoniacs, cast out the demons, and the people come out, they're like, can you just leave? We don't like what you're doing. And I mean, that's challenging in and of itself because you're like, what are they thinking? You have hindsight. You're like, why are you asking Jesus to leave? He healed these people. He's there to do good. What are you thinking? Why would you ask him to leave? But I think we need to turn it around and think about how we would react if we were the people. One, for whatever reason, they've got this herd of swine and Jesus is just destroying it. So they are now broke and destitute. They're probably going to starve. So economically, it's not a good thing. I imagine they were probably selling them to the Gentiles, to the Romans, so they lost a government contract. So that's probably not a good thing either. But beyond that, it means that this guy has showed up, who even demons are calling the Son of God, and he has done something that is contrary to what they're doing. And they're like, we really don't want you to examine us because we don't want to see the truth about ourselves. And I think when we pair that with this reading from Amos, where God speaking through Amos to the kingdom of Israel, I despise your festivals, and I take no delight in your solemn assemblies. Even though you offer me your burnt offerings and grain offerings, I will not accept them. And the offerings of well-being of your fatted animals I will not look upon. Take away from me the noise of your songs. I will not listen to the melody of your harps. So it's God saying, everything you're doing is wrong. Stop it. But is it just a matter of, well, you're singing the wrong songs, or you're killing the wrong animals, or you're saying the wrong prayers? If we look at the beginning and end of Amos, seek good and not evil, that you may live. And so the Lord, the God of hosts, will be with you. Hate evil and love good. And at the end, after he said, take away all the things I don't like, but let justice roll down like waters and righteousness like an ever-flowing stream. See, this is what you're supposed to be doing. All these things that you're doing that have become important to you, that you've built your culture around, that have been central to the things you believe, they're wrong. And there's no blame here. God's not saying, well, you made this up, you're wrong. He's saying, you've been taught wrong. For generations, you have not done what was supposed to have been done. I had a meme come up today, and I showed it to Stephanie. It was from Pirates of the Caribbean. And it's Jack Sparrow, and says, "Oh, let's do something different at church." And he's being chased by all like the natives. It's because we start to put meaning to things from our own reasons. And I've seen this in every church that I've ever served at or worked at or heard about. There are things that it's like, well, no, we have to do that. We have to have strawberries on the third Sunday of July because we've done it for generations, or we have to have, this hymn on this day. I saw an organist get fired because they didn't play O Come Emmanuel for the processional for the first Sunday in Advent. They played it for the recessional, not the processional. They got fired. What's more important? So, and that's what God is telling the people of the kingdom of Israel is, you got to get out of your own way. There's an importance that you're supposed to do. There's a reason you're supposed to do these things, and you forgot. You're doing them for the sake of themselves. You're doing it because you've always done it, and you don't even understand why. And then that's what the Gadarenes are afraid of hearing. They're afraid of hearing the prophecy that Amos delivered. To say, you know, you're not supposed to have pigs. You know, you're not supposed to be helping the Romans. You're not supposed to be doing all these things. Oh, by the way, you've got these two guys who are clearly suffering, and you just lock a gate and stick them out in this hole in the side of your town. Maybe don't do that. Maybe give them some food. I get that they're crazy. They're maybe even dangerous. They're so fierce that no one could pass. There are reasonable concerns you might have about being around them, but I'm sure you've got some guys that could go out and deliver them some food or some clothes, or without, being in danger. You don't need to send, the Sunday school class out to deliver the food. You can be reasonable, but you still have this duty, and you're forgetting what the central theme is, what God's actual commandments are. And this is when Jesus reduces the 10 commandments down to 2. The 10 commandments really are 2 commandments. All the rest are extensions of those 2. So if we look at the things we do and the things that we don't do, and we say, why do we do them? Why do we not do them? If you don't have an answer for that, go find one. Ask, why do we do this or that or the other thing? When I'm trying to design liturgy or decide what we're going to do for a season, it's like, well, why do I think we should do this? Is it just I like that music, or I like this idea, or is there something behind that? Is there a reason to do or not do? And usually I found when I can get out of my own way, it usually works a lot better than I intend. Like when I did the service where I had all the different mismatched hangings, and I wore the wrong chasuble, and we started things all differently. I said, see, none of it matters. And I didn't even intend it. I didn't even know it happened when I threw the chasuble. It folded up underneath itself. So I wasn't even wearing the chasuble properly, completely unintentionally and completely unaware, because God was helping me out with my message. That's what we're called to do. But we get so ingrained in, okay, well, church is at this time. Church is this form. Church is this music. Church is this people. Church is this place. That we forget the church is all of those things and none of those things. And I always find, and this applies to just general life and travel, when you go somewhere else and see it done a different way, whether it's a different country, a different church, a different school, a different family, you see things done a different way and you go, I wonder why. Well, if we're generous, we say, I wonder why they do that, and we don't just go, that's wrong. And when you say, I wonder why, then you can turn that around and come back and say, I wonder why we don't do that, or I wonder why we do it this way. And you can start to ask those questions. I wonder why the priest wears that. I wonder why we sit where we do. I wonder why we have readings and then communion and not the other way around. I wonder what that phrase means. Why do we use it every Sunday? But sometimes we're like the Gadarenes, and we don't really want to know because it's just easier, it's simpler, and it's more comfortable to go along with what we've always done. And so when Jesus comes and cures the demoniacs, we say, can you not be our neighbor? Can you take that microscope of your judgment and truth and just not point it at us? Because we're afraid. We're afraid we don't know the answers. We're afraid what the answers are going to be. But avoiding that is like avoiding going to the doctor when you know something's wrong. you're not getting better if you don't find out what it is. Because the truth is, we all have those things that we need to get rid of. We all have things that we should be doing that we're not doing. And listen to the words of the confession we're going to say in just a little bit. Take the time, actually. That's a very good example. Glad I thought of it. When we say the confession today, think about the words. I'm going to say it real slow, just to warn you. Think about those words, because it should make you go, and if it doesn't, you're not paying attention to it. And you're being like the Gadarenes, and you're telling Jesus to move on down the road, which is never a good thing. To God be all the glory, now and forever. Amen.
If this message raised questions or stirred something in you, I'd love for you to stay connected. So like, share, and subscribe. Now go in peace to love and serve the Lord, and I'll see you next time.